Hello and welcome to my kitchen. My name is Terry Carter and I'm from Marietta, Georgia. What I'm going to be making for you today is called a Southern style greens and bean wrap. What I've started with here is a collard green leaf. You don't have to use a collard green leaf, but I use the collard greens simply because I'm a Southern girl and it's the green that I'm most used to. You can also use kale, you can use any green, spinach, anything you like that you're most familiar with or that you feel comfortable with, but I use the collard green leaf. Okay, so we've already cooked the leaf. Okay, it's been cooked down, not overcooked because you don't want it to fall apart. You want it to be firm enough to hold together as a wrap, but you also want it to be soft enough so that when they bite in it, you actually bite it and bite through it and it's not stringy. Okay, then the next step we have to do is go ahead and make the cornbread. The cornbread is what actually incorporates the Philadelphia cream cheese, and what I've used here is a whole container, 8 ounce of whipped Philadelphia cream cheese, and what I mix that with is 2 eggs. And here I've already taken the liberty to mix up the cream cheese and the 2 egg scrambled, so that's what we already have here. And to that we're going to add 1 cup of cornmeal mix. Okay, add your cornmeal mix. So you see it's a pretty thick batter once you add the cornmeal to the mix that's already there. And then to that we're going to also add 1/3 cup of melted butter. It's a third. What I use here is a whole stick, and if you can see here, it's divided into tablespoons. 5 1/3 tablespoons equals out to be 1/3 of a cup. So if you take this and cut it where it says 5 1/2, you'll have 1/3 of a cup. Add that into your mixture. Mix it up well. Get it well incorporated. And I already have my oven preheated to 400 degrees. So once I finish mixing this up, I'll take my mixture here. As you can see, it looks a little lumpy. And I would put this into a 400 degree preheated oven in a pan. Cook it until it's golden brown. When it comes out, it'll look something like this. I use a square pan. You don't have to. This is an 8-inch square pan. But that is your cornbread. Flip it over between. So there you have it. So we'll put this aside. I already have my cornbread here crumbled up. So the first thing we're going to do after we make that is take the cornbread, put a small amount that's been crumbled once again onto your cornbread, onto your leaf. You can make them as big or as small as you like. Okay? Leave that there for a moment. What we also have here is the beans, and the mix is going to go in here. What I have, I've cooked rice, and I use long grain rice, and I have it about a cup here measured. And I also took about 1/4 of a cup of onion, about 1/4 of a cup of red bell pepper. I sauteed down. If I had time, I would take this, pour it in here, pour this in here, put a little olive oil in it, put it on the frying pan, saute it down until it's pretty much softened. But since we don't have time to do that, I've already taken a can of northern beans. You can use northern beans, navy beans, pinto beans, black eye. It doesn't have to be canned. It could be made from scratch. As a matter of fact, it's better if you make it from scratch. But I went ahead and took those beans. After I cooked them up, I mixed them with the mixture of the onions and the red peppers, and here's what we have. Okay, so your beans have been cooked down. Also, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to season your beans, and then you're going to have to season your rice. So you want it to have some flavor. So just assume that we've already seasoned everything. Here are the seasons that we use: turmeric, thyme, red cayenne pepper, allspice. Those are just seasons to give it a nice flavor when you bite into it. Now, as far as the cayenne pepper, you can use as much or as little as you like. I like to go a little heavier so that when you bite into this, you actually taste the cayenne. So as soon as we've done this, we're going to take our beans that's been seasoned up. Let me grab a spoon here. Small amount of beans on your wrap. Here's your rice. Take a small amount of your rice. Put it on the wrap. It looks a little messy now. It gets better as we go on. Okay, there you go. If you can see that well, let me move this back out of your way here. You can see that well. Now we're going to actually take the wrap it up, fold it under, There you have it, and it's as simple as that. Here you go. Take your wrap, and what we topped it with was this is has all the vegetables in it, but it has no sweetness in it. So what you want to do is give this a contrast between the veggies in there, the collard greens, which are going to be a little tartness, And you want to top it with a nice relish. Now here I've had 3 different kinds of relishes here. I have corn relish, chow chow, and a tomato relish. It may be a little hard to find these. You may not find them in your traditional grocery store, but if you go to a specialist store, you will find these. These are all very southern things that we've traditionally had for many, many years here. Today I'm going to use the corn. This is actually a corn relish. This is the corn relish, the chow chow. Chow chow is really good, but a lot of people may not have heard of it. So we're going to use the corn relish. And all we do is take that corn relish, go ahead, scoop it out. Ample amount of corn relish. There you go. And you also want to give a little garnish. If you excuse me just one moment, let me grab a garnish here. And I've chosen to garnish it with chives. And it's that simple, people. There you go. Collard green wrap. I'm not going to taste it right now, but let me give you a little bit more information about who I am and my cooking background. I was raised in Alabama, but I've been living here in Georgia, so I'm a traditional and southern girl, and I've been cooking pretty much all my life. As a child growing up, we didn't eat out. My grandmother raised me. She was an excellent cook. My grandfather was also a good cook, so eating out was not an option for us. Everything we ate in the house. A lot of the stuff we grew. So I'm very much an avid gardener. I believe in natural foods. I believe in taking care of the planet. I also like to share my recipes. So what I've compiled here is my cookbook called Cooking Like Mama. This cookbook is just a collection of my grandmother's recipes. Near the end of her life, I started to see that she may not always be there for me, so I decided to compile her recipes. And as hard as it was to accept that she wouldn't be there, I did. And this book contains all of her recipes, and it also contains a lot of information about growing up in the South, about gardening, and also about being a woman. And this contest, Real Women of Philadelphia, is really great for me because I consider myself a real woman. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I volunteer in my community a lot. When I'm not at home cooking, you can find me cooking for the Boy Scouts, PTA, and a lot of different things in my community. But that's what I do. I love to share my cooking expertise with people. And most of all, I love teaching kids how to cook and how to garden. And a lot of young mothers have kids, and I notice that they don't cook, so I try to get them involved in cooking and teach them how to cook as well. Thank you so much, Kraft Foods. Thank you, Miss Paula Dean. And again, this has been a pleasure. And all I can say is this is a great contest, and I hope everybody has a great time doing it like I have. Thank you. Bye, y'all.